This right here is basically kind of a small documentary on my 1963 Mobile Scout in regards to some work that I had done on it. I'm pretty busy as a person. I know how to do woodworking, and I have a certain level of expectation that I have whenever it comes to anything. Most of it being I want it perfect, but other than that, I understand everything can't be perfect. You know, you see vehicles come from the dealership or whatever come from the manufacturer, and it's pretty much perfect. Sometimes you'll have like an operating error or something like that with stuff, and so I understand. But if something can come from a manufacturer perfect, then I am assuming that stuff can be done perfect or remotely close. And so I kind of have a high expectation in my work that I do as a master mechanic. I try to do perfection on jobs. Don't always achieve it, but I try and I shoot for that, and I usually get there with most of my jobs, and sometimes you fall a little bit short here and there. But in regard to this, I had a lot more expectations in the way that I wanted the work done. There was some stuff, it's kind of hard to see in here. It's a little bit dark, but you have this wood was very, very nice. It was brilliant cabinetry. And so now I had this top ripped out of it, but it was done in such a way that was just like, let me hurry up and get this done or whatever. I don't know. And everything is just has gouges on it. And I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but it is, this used to be beautiful wood, and now it just looks horrible and despicable. Even under here, I have no idea how all this got on here because it was never there before, but you can obviously see that it's very fresh, and all that stuff is very fresh. Otherwise it would have some type of patina on it or something showing that it had been there for a while. And so everything, pretty much every square inch of all of this cabinetry that I have is just gouged, and it needs to be redone. And in most cases, no matter how much you sand, it is never going to be enough to get rid of where there's actually like chunks of, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a huge chunk of wood missing there, or a huge chunk of wood missing there, and then all these gouges right here, and so on and so forth, where there should have never been anything touching this area right here, and yet there was. And you got all these gouges. And so let me just say, this is an old trailer, and it's a 1963 Mobile Scout. I'll tell you, this thing kind of looks good in the picture, but it does have little dings here and there. And so when this person was taking out this back part right here, you could see they actually gouged this outward. I had to kind of push it in, and it's still not right, and it'll never be right. And it destroyed the paint job that I did on it too. Also on the roof up there on the top, there was an area where they were nailing the top of the roof up there in, and it also did some damage. And so I'd like to just grab this flashlight here, and then we could see some of this other stuff on the inside of the trailer. And so there's some areas that are hard to see, but you see all right in this area, you see all these little scratches. All this stuff was very nice. It wasn't perfect, but it had really nice looking patina that you're not going to be able to duplicate. Little scratches here and there, all of this stuff, it's just unreal. Just the carelessness gone into it. I'm trying to get somebody else to do this. This area right here, this kind of irritates me. I don't like shoddy work. I don't like subpar work. I'm a big stickler on customer service, and so this kind of falls right in line with it. I expect a higher quality of, when you pay for something. And this has like this huge edge on it. And then up here, the edge is on the opposite side. It doesn't go far enough. And then even furthermore, if you look down here on the bottom, you got that huge edge right there that comes down too far. And then on top of that, every single one of these staples is actually sticking out and protruding all along here. Every single one of them splintered the wood underneath the cabinetry all the way across, and just created more problems than I initially had. About double the work load now with having to fix all of these other problems. Now this right here, I had to tear it all out because there was a small area right here that needed some veneer work. Really, it just needed veneer work, but the person chose to actually put a wall in, and because they did that, then they had a little bit extra up here, and then they had to, and so this had another panel right here. And then what they did is they actually took and they tried to put, now this is my work right here, I did this, and you can see, look, you can make this right. See, this is all flush right here. It's perfectly flush. And so you see my staples? My staples are just barely under the surface. I put glue underneath this all the way across. See, this is actually right here. There's the line. It's flush with the other piece of wood, which is right here. And that's all flush. It's countersunk. Everything meets. You're gonna have linoleum down there, so I left a little bit of a gap. But all the edge, everything meets. It's all right along the edge right there. And you have the seam. And so you'll have another piece of wood that goes right here. But what they did is they actually took, and I had to tear it off because it was bad. And they had a huge 2-inch gap down over there in the corner, right there in that area. And it was like all the way up, almost to the, right there in that area. And they were telling me they could fix it with some trim. There's absolutely no way you can get trim in that area, in a curvature like that, let alone all this stepping area, that little step of a area there. It's not an actual step that you step on, but it steps up. And then you got the door, and the head didn't even have that cut with the new piece that they put on the old piece. And it's like, I literally took off the old piece. I took off the new piece and took off the old piece in like 10 minutes flat. And then I was able to use the old piece as a template to help me identify exactly how I needed to cut this one and everything, and it went smooth. I replaced that whole piece in like an hour, easily, right at an hour. And it was so simple. And it's just like, all of this stuff, you can see where there's like been glue on here, and it held the wood on. So see, you can see you put glue on here as well with the paneling. You have to do that so it resolves any type of squeaking that goes on as you're walking through the whole setup, and it kind of moves back and forth. And then also this area, I want to show you something here. So you can kind of see that you have some, stuff right here. You see all these gouges, and then this edge right here. It's just like, how do I fix something like that? I mean, that's unreal. That is like, and where is that piece? I could fix it if I could find that piece. Now I have to substitute something, put putty in there or something in order to fix that. And there's just like stuff where I'm to the point where I feel so frustrated about the work that was done on this trailer that what I want to do is go and take this thing and set it on fire. This is how much this irritates me. All of these little scrapes and everything, I have to redo all of this wood. It was so beautiful before, and now I've got to redo all of it. It's just simply not acceptable as a craftsman to be able to sit there and do that type of stuff. The staples, let me show you these staples. These staples were sticking out. You see these? That's exactly where the staple was. If the staple was sticking out, it could have, ripped somebody's tissue or whatever on their arm or whatever. And then on top of that, the staple is like flush with this bottom piece. You can turn down a stapler so it doesn't go all the way through, because I literally had to, I just took barely the edge of my hand and pulled this thing off, and it came right off, and it was unreal how easily it came off. I was just like, oh my gosh, I should have videotaped that, because that is just garbage. Every single area within just small portion is just scarred up and destroyed like that, and it looks like it was done maliciously. I mean, I would literally think, what the heck I mean, if I had walked into this thing and I didn't know the person that did it, I would have thought, does this person hate me? Did they do this on purpose? This is like unreal. And so you could just see there's all of these gouges all the way across this thing, and this was such beautiful wood. Now this thing's kind of in the way, but you see all of that? Unreal, right? And yeah, I could put up some trim and kind of get rid of it. It had some very tiny circular trim right there that was just like a something you might find on like the edge of the vinyl on a boat, on a seat, that circular trim that they put. And that's what that was right there. And so pretty much I'm just very frustrated with this whole job that happened, and I know how to work on this stuff. I was very busy, and I kind of ran out of options, and I asked my wife to get a hold of somebody and see if they were willing to do it, and then I went against my better judgment. It should have never happened, and now we're in this predicament. And so, folks, if you know somebody that does not take pride in their craftsmanship, then definitely don't get them to work on your stuff. And this is the type of frustration you're going to run into. I still might yet just go ahead and set this thing on fire in a field or something, and I don't have any insurance on it, but it is what it is. I can't do anything about this frustration I have except try to fix this and redo everything. I know it seems like it's probably not, it's like it's not beyond help. It can be fixed, but it's either like 2 to 3 times worse than what it originally was. And so if you have somebody that doesn't take pride in their work, don't have them work on your stuff, and that's all I've got to say.